Over the last 4 years, the California Department of Corrections has been averaging 28 homicides per year. That's more homicides than a lot of cities in this country. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Before I start the video, I want to give credit where credit's due. This video was inspired by Hector Bravo. Check out the Hector Bravo channel on YouTube. Hector Bravo, if I remember right, resigned as a lieutenant within the Department of Corrections here in California. He's been talking about a lot of this stuff, about a lot of the CDCR policies, politics, and everything else for years. Me having been in the California Department of Corrections for over 24 years, I know firsthand a lot about what he's talking about, and it's I want to touch on some things. So the new secretary, Jeff Maycomer, he took over the Department of Corrections, became the secretary of the Department of Corrections in December of 2022. And I have my notes here, and I want to go year by year from the year 2020 to this year and talk about the homicides. So in the year 2020, before Maycomer, there was 30 homicides. 2021, there was 15. 2022, his year, however he came at the end of the year, there was 26. 2023, 23. 2024, 39. 2025, 31. As of 2026, so far this year in 2026, pay attention here. There are 11 homicides that have been listed as homicides. There's also a large amount of deaths, a large number of deaths that are listed as either pending or unknown. That's for a reason, okay? But let me point this out too. In 2006, the population of the California Department of Corrections was over 173,000 inmates. Let me say that again. In 2006, there were over 173,000 inmates incarcerated within the Department of Corrections. As of 2025, the inmate population in the California Department of Corrections is 91,000. There have been 5 prisons to shut down, close their doors. Population is roughly half of what it was in 2006, and there are way more homicides. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. The CDC has a plan. I've been talking about this over and over. The CDC, the politicians in Sacramento, they are pissed off that Pelican Bay SHU was shut down. And you guys can go online. Hector Bravo, I believe, has a Patreon that shows a lot of stuff. Uncut, raw footage of hits that go down in the California Department of Corrections now. I just saw one yesterday on TikTok. A brand new channel on TikTok showing a hit going down. What you see when you see these clips of these hits that are going down in prison in California now, you see, guys, it's always going to be a 2-on-1. You will see 2 guys armed with their shanks jump on one guy, take him to the dirt, and just go to town. Eventually, you'll see some cops, most of them overweight, slowly walk over, give some verbal commands to, hey, knock that off, guys. That's not nice. Hey, quit being mean. Hey, leave that guy alone. I don't know. Stuff like that, right? Again, 2 dudes with knives on one dude. Blood everywhere. The cops watch. Everybody in the day room is proned out watching. Cops eventually walk over. Then they spray some pepper spray and ask them politely to knock it off again. for a little while, and then issue, spray some more pepper spray. And when the guys are tired, they'll get off the victim. That's the CDC. That's what happens in the California Department of Corrections now. If you get politicked on, or your faction believes that you did something that warranted being touched, it's going to be two dudes with knives. The cops ain't going to help. Now, take it back a decade or two. As soon as an incident occurred, a stabbing occurred in the building, on the yard, that rifle was going to get fired with live rounds. If you were lucky, especially if it's in the building, if you were lucky, they'd fire the launcher at you, the non-lethal rounds a few times, probably throw a grenade at you. And if you don't stop, you're getting shot. If you're on the yard, oh no, the Mini 14's busting on you. Cops killed inmates, not on a regular basis, but they killed them when they were involved in stuff like that. But nowadays, they just let it happen. Casually walk over there. Those are people's loved ones, everybody involved. The two aggressors and the victim, they all have families. These videos come out and they see their family member either attacking or getting attacked. And I think no matter which family it is, the family of the attacker or the family of the victim, I think they still ask themselves, the hell them cops doing there? I've always said, no disrespect to anybody, but I've always said, here in the California Department of Corrections, the COs, high-priced babysitters. Their job is not to solve crime. Their job is to pick up the pieces, pick up the players when the dust settles. But at least before, we knew, I'm going to go whack this dude on the yard tomorrow. I may not live through it. Cop may gun me down. But I got to take care of this. Nowadays, guys are raising their hands. I got this. And knowing the way convicts are, they want to outdo the last sticking. Somebody gets whacked on the yard and Vatos were like, damn, they did that. Oh, yeah? Really? So when they do theirs, they know everything they saw in the last one. They want to be crazier than that. I know there are people that feel like if people are breaking the law, people are committing crimes and they get arrested, fuck them. There are people that believe that. And I can't reiterate enough. The vast majority of people that go to prison, they get released back into society in less than 10 years. If you go and look at how brutal these hits are, if you think that doesn't affect the mind of someone that went in maybe do 7 or 8 years, if you think that doesn't affect them and change them into a monster released out in the community, you got a lot to learn. You cannot be in that type of environment and not have it rub off on you. Especially if you are actively involved in the reindeer games in there. We owe it to ourselves as taxpayers, as a community, as productive members of society. We owe it to ourselves to demand more. The CDC, look, if somebody's going to get hit, no matter what, they're going to get hit. But something needs to be done where there's the incentive to do better. There's the incentive to be better. Like I said, in the 90s, these hits these dudes are doing, Dudes who had the same intentions, but dudes were getting shot off of people. I remember one incident between the Bulldogs and the Northerners, beef facility in New Folsom. I saw a Northerner get flipped. He was throwing a kick. He was trying to kick a Bulldog that was down on the floor. He was trying to kick him in the head. As his leg was going forward, the Mini 14 hit him in the back of his leg and flipped him. Now, of course, us being idiots in prison, we're like, Dad, these vatos are doing gymnastics too. You know, it was funny in there, but out here, that shit ain't funny. If you really think about it, that's our taxpayer money. We are paying high taxes to have COs just sit around and watch people under their care get brutalized. 28 to have an average of 28 homicides per year. There are a lot of cities in our country that don't even have one homicide a year. And yet our Department of Corrections, with barely over 90,000 people, are averaging 28 murders per year. The CDC has a role in this. The CDC is putting people together that they know can't coexist. They're trying to create enough violence to convince the courts to reopen Pelican Bay Shoe. Those are people's uncles, dads, brothers, grandpas, sons. People sometimes get irritated with me and say that I'm making excuses for them, and there. No, I'm not. But you cannot, I have to make sure I stress this. You cannot look at them with the mindset of us out here in society and apply this mindset and these rules out here to that world. That world is so brutal, so violent because of the environment. Believe me, them dudes in there want to make money. They want to enjoy, their favorite TV program. They want to enjoy an ice cream here and there. They want to be able to see their wives and their kids when they can. Homicides are bad for business. It cuts your way of making money. It cuts into your profits. But the laws of that world are established. And it doesn't help when you have the CDC intentionally putting people in places they shouldn't be. That's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.